Hello, everyone, and welcome to this week's edition of the Bub Report. I'm your humble host, Dr. Kellen Bub. We're happy you can join us for this week's live edition of the program. Please remember to like and share this very special and important live stream of this week's episode of the Bub Report. Now, let's get to the weekly editorial. Now, in 2019, the People's Republic of China agreed to fund the renovation of the Grenada National Cricket Stadium at a cost of 30 million EC dollars. Now, both stadia were rebuilt with grant funding provided in part by the People's Republic of China, which continues to exert its geopolitical influence in the Western Hemisphere by way of the Belt and Road Initiative and other geopolitical initiatives. Now, while these projects and programs project soft power, the reality is that they do serve as a counter-hegemonic pushback against historic and colonial Western dominance in these parts. Last week, several Grenadian whistleblowers who claimed to have been employed on the Chinese-funded renovation project at the National Cricket Stadium in St. George's came forward on another platform with allegations of rife exploitation at the hands of the Chinese-owned contracting firm charged with executing the project. The irony is not lost on us that these allegations were made in the same week of the celebration of International Workers' Day on the 1st of May, in a country whose very political independence was grounded in a historic and fraught struggle for the rights and dignity of the Grenadian worker. Remember SkyRed? Well, SkyRed was all about ensuring that we do not have the conditions that the workers spoke about last week. Now, at the 2024 May Day rally, the current administration touted its very pro-worker orientation and articulated how much it cares for ensuring workers are treated fairly and compensated adequately by way of the new minimum wage, which is laudable. Now, if these allegations of exploitation are true, then we must ask some hard questions to those responsible for enforcing Grenada's labor code and for ensuring that all companies, irrespective of their diplomatic profile, follow statutes. The "them that feed in us" mentality should not apply to Grenada's laws. Now, the workers have alleged that not only are they made to work 7 days a week, inclusive of public holidays, but that they work beyond the stipulated 8-hour day without the benefits of overtime, which is a violation of Section 37, subsection A of the Labor Code. The workers have also alleged that the terms and conditions of their work contract are not properly stipulated. In fact, they claim that it was very open-ended and have been made to perform tasks not originally agreed to. Now, that is a violation of Section 30 of the Labor Code. Now, if these allegations are found to be true, then Ms. Sparkle Grenade Courtney, Labor Commissioner, must be made to answer these questions. 1. Have these workers raised these concerns to you as they indicated? And why have they not received a commitment from your office to follow up on their concerns? 2. Have you and your staff engaged in the enforcement of the labor code at that construction site? If not, why not? What communication have you had with the Ministry of Sport on these concerns? Our investigations reveal that this ministry has some supervisory role in this project. After all, it is the renovation of the National Stadium. Now, question 3. What about the staffing and training capacity of labor officers in the ministry to execute their powers? Is it up to the task of enforcing best practices, not just at that site, but in other private sector entities across the country? 5. What about the time your ministry takes to adjudicate complaints brought by aggrieved workers against employers? And these are the questions that we have for the Labor Commissioner. Now, in 1979 and in 2012, Grenada ratified 2 very important ILO conventions, the Forced Labor Convention and the Occupational Health and Safety Convention. one would hope that we are not engaging in performative governance, but that we are sticking to the spirit and to the letter of the law in ensuring that all workers are protected by the laws of Grenada. This is the Bub Report. We will be right back with the first segment of the program. Please stand by.
Don't go there.
You are a technocrat. I mean, you can speak to whether or not it was appropriate or inappropriate for that to occur. Would you have done that as a permanent secretary?
Politicians get the information from wherever source that they can.
That's going to be the extent of your answer.
Yeah.
Don't go there.
There's a lot of noise around the data protection bill that, in my respectful view, is not warranted.
I was one of those making noise, and it's simply because I was concerned about that specific section 33.
Don't go there.
Are you going to be offering yourself up as political leader of the party?
I see you've called me have much more than diplomatic passports. I don't mind that.
Don't go there.
What is the relationship like between you and your leader, Dr. Mitchell, your boss, Dr. Mitchell?
I'm not sure how to explain how to answer this question at this time. I prefer not to answer.
Don't go there.
They said that you approached the bank for the loan before the election and that it only materialized after the election. There are also conflicting reports around the quantity of monies that were received. What is the reality here?
People try to extort the truth and to make all kinds of things about it. I just keep quiet. So if you notice, I was really and truly quiet about the whole matter.
Well, except with not with the New Today newspaper. The New Today newspaper reported on this, so I'm not sure you were quiet on this. Go ahead, Honorable. Go ahead.
Well, I'm just trying to answer your question, right?
Don't go there.
I think we just spoke at length about the regularization framework. So
yes, we did. But let us talk, Prime Minister. Let us talk about the workers who are dismissed.
The Bub Report. We go there.
And viewers and listeners, welcome back to this week's edition of the Bub Report. Please remember to like and share this live stream. This is a very important conversation we will be having today. And of course, in the second segment of the Bub Report, we're going to learn much more about the upcoming Grenada Invitational, which will be the fourth installment of the Invitational. We have two very important guests who will be here to talk about this very important meet. One of the premier, in fact, the Invitational, they have dubbed it the premier sporting event on the sporting calendar, the athletic calendar for the entire Caribbean. Now, for the first segment of the program, we will sit with two members of the Palestinian Authority, headquartered in the West Bank, separated from Gaza as a result of the creation of the State of Israel in 1967, and buttressed by the Balfour Declaration of 1917. The declaration created the geopolitical conditions for the establishing of a Jewish state in Palestine, when colonial Britain publicly pledged to establish a national home for the Jewish people. Thereafter, the devastating impacts of World War II. The pledge is generally viewed as one of the main catalysts for the Nakba, or the ethnic cleansing of Palestine in 1948, and the decades-long conflicts that ensued between the newly created State of Israel, the Western world's most prized ally in the Middle East. The Balfour Declaration is regarded as one of the most controversial and contested documents in the modern history of the Arab world, and has puzzled historians for decades. Today's onslaught on Gaza is as a result of the October 7th massacre by Hamas in Israel, has its roots in the displacement of millions of Palestinians who were scattered all across the world, as well as the continued displacement of Palestinians from the Palestinian territories in the West Bank by illegal Israeli settlers. Over in the Caribbean, in our neck of the woods, following the formation of the Palestinian state in 1988, Cuba led the way in officially recognizing the statehood of the Palestinian people in that same year. Guyana led the CARICOM states by recognizing the Palestinian states some 13 years ago in 2011, followed by Suriname, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Belize, Dominica, Antigua and Barbuda in the same year. Grenada and Haiti did so in 2013, St. Lucia in 2015, and St. Kitts and Nevis in 2019. On April 19, 2024, amidst what Barbados' Prime Minister Mia Mottley described as the world's first televised genocide in Gaza, the country's Minister of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade, Kerry Simmons, announced the intention of their government to recognize the state of Palestine. With that announcement, Barbados became the 140th member of the United Nations to recognize the state of Palestine, and the 11th member of the Caribbean community to do so. Barbados's decision was quickly followed by Jamaica on the 22nd of April. Incidentally, Jamaica also voted absent in respect of one of the ceasefire votes at the United Nations General Assembly. Now, on May 2nd, Trinidad and Tobago followed their counterparts in the region to recognize the state of Palestine, leaving the Bahamas as the only CARICOM member state to not have a position on recognition. Historically progressive and anti-colonial voices in the Caribbean, including Grenada's late former Prime Minister, Maurice Bishop, voiced solidarity with the Palestinian cause. And many progressives in the region did so as far back as the 60s, as did many African nations and movements, including Nelson Mandela's African National Congress. And at this time, we wish to welcome our first two guests for this week's edition of the Bub Report. We have Ambassador, and I'm going to put up the titles here, Ambassador Linda Sobey, who is Palestine's non-resident ambassador to Grenada and CARICOM, and Mr. Imad Al-Zuahiri. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, sir. If I'm not, please correct me. Are you able to hear me well?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, very well. Well, welcome to this week's edition of the Bub Report, ladies and gentlemen. I think you're having difficulty in hearing me. I said welcome to the program.
Well, actually.
Sorry.
Oh, you are hearing me. Yes, I was saying welcome to the program.
Thank you. Thank
Yes,
you for
yes, absolutely. Now, of course, the Palestinian Liberation Organization, as we know, worked with a number of African revolutionary movements, and of course, during that time, both the African National Congress and the Palestinian Liberation Organization received solidarity and support from the people of the Caribbean. So your presence in the region, I'm sure, while it may be new to a newer generation of people, for those of us students of history, is not new. So can you talk to us first and foremost about that historic solidarity between the Caribbean and the people of Palestine?
First of all, thank you once again for having us here. And I want to publicly and repeatedly thank all the Caribbean nation, all the governments and people of the Caribbean, and in special in Grenada, with the overwhelming support, the overwhelming voicing of our voice, the rallies, all the messages that we reach, that reaches to Palestine, not only to the government, but to the people, the children, the mothers. The history goes way, way back in solidarity between the Caribbean and the Palestinians. And I believe in the Caribbean, we received such a tremendous solidarity because most of the nations lived what we live, struggled how we struggled. And here I'm in Grenada and I see all the festivities that took place and says 50 years of independence. And I'm 56 years old. And I was born after the second Nakba, which is called Naksa in 1967. So most of the new generation and the millenniums and all of the generation in Palestine are born after the occupation. Now you feel and you taste the wonderful sweet taste of independence, of freedom. And I'm thinking, is it in my time? I need to see this freedom. I need to see this independence of my country. I do not want my children or any children or my grandchildren to continue to live under oppression, under occupation. under a continuous genocide and under a psychological stress. Do you think these children or these parents or even grandparents that is living a complete, systematically planned genocide, because Minister Netanyahu says going as planned? And I urge anyone to explain to me what is going as planned. The war crimes, the genocide, the starvation, the bombarding of the center of fertility to get rid of any hope for all these people in Palestine that might be having a child, a dream of having a family. Complete families wiped off. All hospitals, only 2 operating, and one of them is being a mass grave with people being buried alive, cuffed and buried alive, and the rest buried with their skin taken and their organ taken. Even the animals starved. Even the animals in the zoo died.
Yeah. And of course, we also have to talk about the destruction of universities and mosques and churches, by the way. And there is the idea that there are no Palestinian Christians. Well, there are Palestinian Christians as well who are experiencing this. So I especially, that point is important. That point needs to be made, given the fact that in Grenada there is an evangelical bent that also says that, of course, the Israelis are the chosen people, and therefore they are entitled to the land. But Mr. Zarahiri, let's get to you, sir. Let us talk about Arab allyship. Now, I found it interesting that not one Arab state took up the cause of the Palestinian people at the International Court of Justice. It was, in fact, South Africa, which is not an Arab country. By no means is it an Arab country. Of course, they do have understandably historic ties and allyship to the Palestinian cause, right? In respect of what happened around the apartheid system in South Africa, and so they can relate on so many levels to what is happening to the Palestinian people. Now, what does it tell us about the friends and allies that you should be relying on closer to home? That it took a country outside of your region to take up your cause at the International Court of Justice.
Yeah, well, let me start by expressing my most sincere appreciation and gratitude to the people and leadership of Grenada for their long-standing support to the just cause of the Palestinian people. We strongly believe that such support will enable us to proceed in realizing our aspirations and in establishing our sovereign, independent state of Palestine on the pre-1967 borders, when the return of our refugees and the full enjoyment by our people to their civil, political, economic, social, and cultural lives. My second point is today the Palestinians are celebrating Easter, and our sisters and brothers, Christian sisters and brothers, are celebrating Easter. And for your information,
that would be the Orthodox Christian Palestinians. Yes.
Correct.
Yes. Very well. Go ahead.
Easter, and they were banned from entering the Sepulchre Church in Jerusalem. I take this opportunity as well to convey our greetings to all those who are celebrating Easter worldwide. Well, going back to the issue of Palestine, the Arab solidarity, and who is going to support Palestine. Well, first of all, we belong to the Arab nation. We are Arabs, and we are surrounded by our sisters and brothers from the neighboring countries. I think that all the Arab countries, all the Islamic countries, do provide support to the just cause of the Palestinian people and do support the initiatives that are led by the Palestinian National Authority, the Palestinian government, on the international arena. However, that support varies from one country to the other, but from a principal point of view, the cause of the Palestinian people is the central cause of the Arab nation and the Islamic nation. However, in politics, we can divide the responsibilities and the roles among Arab countries. We have coordinated a lot with South Africa. And still, some other countries, Arab countries, are continue to work with South Africa, continue to work with the international community, not only in terms of presenting cases before the ICJ or the ICC, but trust me, no Arab country would spare no effort to provide all the necessary support to their sisters and brothers inside the occupied territories of the State of Palestine. Let's recall the initiatives led by Saudi Arabia, Egypt, Jordan, and other countries to bring this war to an immediate end, to reach a ceasefire, to allow the entrance of humanitarian aid to the occupied Palestinian people in Gaza Strip. And please rest assured that we belong to this big Arab family, and no Arab regime or no Arab citizen would spare any effort to provide any support needed to their sisters and brothers inside the occupied territories of Palestine. But you have also to take into consideration that the whole occupied territories of Palestine are fully controlled by the occupying power. Now, people would like to enter, people would like to give more, people would like to present all the necessary support, but they are hampered, they are impeded by the sanctions and the Israeli impediments that they continue to impose throughout the occupied territories.
That may be so, but also recently, well, under the previous administration here in the United States, under the Trump administration, Israel signed the Abraham Accords, one of which was, I believe, with Saudi Arabia, I believe is one of the countries. So not Saudi Arabia. Well, but they do. I'm sorry, not Saudi Arabia. You are correct. But they did sign Abrahamic Accords with several Arab states.
Correct.
As well. So in as much as yes, the occupation continues unabated, I was personally surprised that these countries went into an accord with Israel while also not considering the plight of the Palestinian people as part of that framework.
No, they continue to consider the plight of the Palestinian people. But let me clarify one point.
Yes.
We do belong to this Arab family, but each and every Arab country is a sovereign country. They decide the best interest for their people and for their country. This is point one. Second point, we strongly believe that cutting contacts with Israel is unhelpful for the whole region. Contacting Israel and allowing these contacts to take place between Israel and some other countries, Arab countries, is in the interest of the Palestinian cause. We know very well that these contacts are mainly based on bringing justice back to that part of the world. So, United Arab Emirates, Bahrain, Sudan, and other countries, yes, joined the Abraham Accords, signed agreements with Israel, and we believe that such relation between them and Israel consider the issue of their brothers and sisters back in Palestine, and we are confident that in each and every session of negotiations or meetings or during conferences, this issue is brought in a strong manner. And let me recall as well the initiatives that are presented on the table by Egyptians, by Saudi Arabia, by Qatar, and others. We belong to this family. We continue to deal with our brothers and sisters, and I think that no Arab country or no Arab people would spare this effort to support the sisters inside the occupied territories of the State of Palestine.
Now, let us talk about the ongoing onslaught in Gaza by the American and Western-funded IDF. Now, what is the current death toll? Now, I do know that in respect of the death toll, just because of the sheer damage that the IDF has done, the disproportionate response to what occurred on October 7th, that probably it will be difficult right now for the Ministry of Health in Gaza to give us an accurate death count. Now, the last count stopped in March, and that time it was over 34,000 people. I just can't imagine what the death toll is now. Yes. Now, can you talk about the extent of the severe injuries, just to share humanitarian cost and the humanitarian damage that has been done to civilians who had nothing to do with what Hamas enacted against also innocent civilians on the Israeli side. Now, according to Save the Children charity, more than 10 children per day on average have lost one or both of their legs in Gaza since violence erupted 3 months ago. And since the October 7th, more than 1,000 children have had one or both legs amputated. Some of those amputations have occurred without anesthesia because, of course, the health infrastructure in Gaza has been decimated. So can you talk about the sheer extent of that humanitarian impact on children, but also on the intergenerational loss that has occurred? You know, I work with a Palestinian colleague, and she lost several members of her family, 10 people. There was a gentleman that I know whose grandmother was pulled out of the rubble. So can you talk about, within the context of the Palestinian Authority, how are you monitoring what's occurring in Gaza? How are you getting that information?
The Ministry of Health, first of all, the ones that we announce, by the way, it's now the confirmed with name and ID, and that's why you see a modest number. And imagine me saying that 39,000 now is a modest number, because there is over 17 to 18,000 under the rubbles. Those are unidentified. In the streets, bodies that are in pieces, that they'll never be identified. We cannot, as Ministry of Health, as the government of the state of Palestine, it is very difficult for us. The mass graves also, all the discomposed bodies and the assassinated people of Palestine, they're not numbers. When we say 39,000, those are 39,000 souls, persons, dreams, lives. It's not just a number. And by the way, there is every 10 minutes a Palestinian child is being assassinated, either bombarded or starving or illness, product of this ongoing genocide. I want to correct also and say, when you say IDF, no, it's not a defense. You defend yourself when you are oppressed, when you are occupied. This is IOF. They are an offense army. We are the oppressed. We are the under occupation. We are the one that we are being massacred. And I want to go back to the point of Christians and not Christian. I'll go back to my subject, but I want to say that Jesus Christ is the first Christian that was, the first Palestinian that was assassinated. And second, to the evangelical church that you mentioned, to the brothers and sisters, I want to ask them, when they say the chosen, I did not know, I had no knowledge that God is a real estate agent. Let's not pick and choose of what's in the Bible and in God's word. Let's use them correctly and wisely. And imagine also, if right now you get off this program, my brother, and you go home, and you'll find some settlers that threw your belongings outside, changed the lock of your door, and now you and your children have to live in the streets, and that settler inside your home will tell you, my grandparents once lived on this piece of land, where it's your home, where you were born. All the occupation all around the world, do they have the right and reoccupy the countries that they occupied previously? Grenada was under the occupation. The people that lived during the occupation, do they have the right now to come and reoccupy Grenada? And this is to the people that have any doubt of what's happening. And when you say Hamas, Hamas is part of the Palestinian people. And let me ask you, why did what happened on the 7th of October happen? And I must clarify, I'm against blood. against assassination, against the shedding of one drop of blood of any human being, whoever they are, whatever their faith is, because we, the Palestinians, are a melting pot of religion. We are Muslims, Christians, and Jews. There's Palestinian Jews. I need to correct that this is not a religious war. This is an ethnic cleansing. This is an occupation. I do not accept even to call it a conflict or what is, it's not a conflict. It is an occupation.
Yeah. Let me add to what Her Excellency just
Yes,
said.
yes, go ahead. Go ahead, sir.
Yeah. To affirm three main points, actually. First of all, occupation did not start on October the 7th. It has started in 1948, and we have been subjected to all kinds of racist procedures and illegal measures imposed by the occupying power, Israel. Secondly, the occupied Gaza Strip is an integral part of the rest of the occupied territories of the State of Palestine, including East Jerusalem, where international law, international humanitarian law, international human rights law, particularly the Fourth Geneva Convention, should apply du jour. Thirdly, why resilience and resistant acts committed by the Palestinians, or if you want, why similar acts committed by Palestinians in some parts of the world are praised and applauded, while in Palestine they are considered to be acts of terrorism. We are under occupation. We have the full right to resist and to end this occupation with whatever means that we have. We do believe in peace. We do believe in the peace track.
We
condemn all acts of violence. We condemn the violence against any civilians under all circumstances, regardless of the color, regardless of the religion, regardless of the ethnicity, regardless
Absolutely.
of the sexual orientation even. Human rights are human rights for all. We should not be selective, and we should not play it double standards. The international community should apply international law to that part of the world and should refrain from being selective and should stop their double standards when it comes to the applicability of IHL. So yes, there are things that we have to do from our side, but the international community should abide by the legal obligations and moral obligations as well.
Now, and of course, you did mention Hamas, and you preempted the next question here, which of course we are well aware that October 7th is not the start of these issues in respect of Palestine and Israel. And of course, in the way that it's reported in the Western media, you would think that October 7th was where everything started. However, yes, yeah, of course, but however, yes, however, Hamas's actions certainly served as the catalyst for Israel's disproportionate response in this latest salvo.
Let me disagree with you.
Yes.
No, again, the occupation started in 1948.
Yes, as I articulated in the intro. Yes, we are aware of that. The Nakba and everything. Yes.
Let's put Hamas aside right now. Hamas reacted to what exactly? The Palestinian people resist to what exactly? To their continuous violations of their main basic rights. This occupation started in 1948. Brother, there is no 5 stars occupation. Occupation is the ugliest form of racism. Occupation continues to violate the basic rights of the Palestinian people. And I think that the Palestinian people has the full right to resist and to show their resilience. Now, maybe this act of resistance should have been coordinated on a national level. Maybe that act of resistance should be considered as a mean and a way, not the objective itself. Maybe these acts of resistance should be complemented by political strategy. And at the end of the day, yes, we can make, we have to measure the benefits out of these acts or the losses out of these acts. But in all circumstances, the Palestinian people have the full right to resist their occupier and to end their occupation with whatever means they have.
And as I always say, let's not say, why do I have these side effects and why do I have them? The main reason is the cancer, and the cancer is the occupation. If we are talking what happened on the 15th of May, it will be 76 years of al-Nakba. And it will be 218 of genocide and 17 years of open air prison. What's the condition that the people in Gaza are living? And let's not forget the massacre taking place since October 7 in West Bank and East Jerusalem. Let's not forget our prisoners. Let's not forget that Israel detained and treating unhumanly, raping, starving, beating up our prisoners. Over 6,500 detained even 4 years old children since October 7.
And that is in the West Bank alone, yes. And the international media never talks about what happens in the West Bank. The Western media, that is, yes.
Is Jerusalem. The focus on Gaza, and Gaza is part of Palestine. We have two lungs, and Jerusalem East is the heart. And while they already destroyed one of our lungs, Gaza, put our people to poverty, slaughtering them. By the UN said by the end of this, it's going to be over 100,000 between what they are unidentified under the rubbles, the 5,000 live embryon in the fertility center, the 17,000 or by now probably 18,000 children, the over 20,000 of orphans that have no family member to take care of them, despite that most of them is either without an extreme or an eye or injured. The babies that they are born in the womb, the mother is already assassinated, and those children, no milk, no diaper, no one to care for them, and they're written on them unidentified. Sometimes, let's not forget the targeting of our journalists like yourself. Over
in the hundreds, hundreds of journalists have been killed, and not only have they been killed, but they have been banned from Western journalists. Other international journalists have been banned from seeing for themselves or verifying the claims that are made by the State of Israel as well.
Workers, UN, UNRWA, humanitarian aid workers, doctors, nurses, all these assassination and detention. One of the doctors that resisted, Dr. Bursch, and refused, and he is being seen as a great hero. He was detained and he was beaten up until his death 2 or 3 days ago. Many journalists, not just assassinating them, but assassinating their family, targeting their home, blowing up their home. I want to go back and say, if the chosen people, they are the ones that their soldier sends a happy birthday wish to his daughter and blows a whole compound, thousands of lives. When every explosion and every airstrike, they're chanting and the settlers celebrating and dancing and some rockets, hoping that that rocket will kill a Palestinian child. When the Minister of Culture, that culture needs to be the music of the non-5-star, as my colleague says, occupation, comes out and say, nuke them. Let's nuke them and get rid of them.
Yeah, let me add to Dr. two additional points. Well, I think we should be facing the in the eyes of the international community, is that Israel is qualified to be the occupying power. And again, you mentioned point, brother. You said IDF. Yes, IDF is Israelis. You cannot occupy your right to self-defense. You cannot be the occupier. How can you become? How can you be the occupier and have the right to defense. We have the right to resist. We have the right to show our resilience, and we have the right to end our occupation by the Israelis. We have the right to live as any other nation. Our children have the right to live normally as any children worldwide.
Can they live normally?
Definitely are subjected to all kinds of illegal procedures. Out of 39,000 Palestinian killed, children. Do you believe that? Deliberate targeting of Palestinian children, because these children are the future leaders of actors of Palestine, are the future politicians of Palestine. Yes, university lecturers, etc., etc. They think that by doing this future, not at all. Contrary. Minimum family in Palestine is composed out of maybe 10 members.
And let me point out something. When they said they are going to Gaza to get rid of Hamas, is the Baptist Church Hamas?
Yes.
Is the
Hamas.
churches Hamas?
Medical centers.
Medical centers are Hamas.
Yeah. Media
Fertility center is Hamas. Any resistance in Palestine is product of the occupation, is product of that cancer called occupation. Remember, all my Christian brothers and sisters, that we in Palestine, we do not ask or we do not see if our neighbor is Christian or our neighbor is Muslim or our neighbor is Jew, because the Jews in Palestine are defending Palestine equally to the Muslims and to the Christians. And they are more furious and more vocal, talking because they lived there, they're born there, they're Palestinian, it's their nation. And they know, and everyone in the world knows, we did not do the Holocaust. Why are we paying the cost? Why are we paying the bill of others? We opened our homes, we opened our heart, we received the ships that came, and we were solidarity, and we are still with them. But they occupied our land after we opened our home to them. They ethnic cleansed us. In 1948, over 750,000 refugees lost their home, massacres. Now they are over 7 million. We are 14 million, which is 7 million of us are in the diaspora. And most of them cannot enter back.
Another point mentioned, my dear brother, Israeli propaganda speak about disputed territories. There is nothing called disputed territories. The situation in Palestine is a very clear, crystal clear state of occupation. It's a situation of foreign occupation. Now, what is needed by the international community is to bring Israel responsible, accountable for their crimes against humanity, for their war crimes, for their genocide, and for their ethnic cleansing. And still, we're watching that genocide live on a daily basis. Until when we will continue tolerating this, until when the international community will continue to observe this live killing 24/7.
Yes, absolutely. Now we have to get to the next segment, but there are two questions, two final questions that we have, and then we have a montage of that historic Caribbean solidarity that has always been the case, including with Grenada's late former Prime Minister Maurice Bishop, who spoke articulately at that address that he gave to Hunter College about the intersection between the Palestinian struggle and the then anti-apartheid struggle, as well as the struggle for independence in a post-colonial Caribbean society against the colonial oppressors. Now, and these two final questions, one has to do with the support that you have from some segments of the Grenadian population. That is clear. There is a Grenadian priest by the name of Father Gerard Paul, who spoke articulately. I'm not sure if you met that priest, but he spoke out against what is happening in Gaza at the moment. He's probably the only one that was very vocal within the Christian Society of Grenada. Now, Grenada is culturally Christian, and it does have its Palestinian detractors. Now, one such detractor is evangelical adherent Zara Chase, who wrote this in the New Today publication about you, Ambassador, in 2022. And she said, quote, "It is a sin for rulers to work wickedness, and if backing the sworn enemy of God's people is not wickedness, then nothing is. The Palestinian Authority is driven by the same force that drove Nazi Germany and the USSR, aka Satan, those are her words, to bring some murderous Jew haters into diplomatic relationship with this nation, again under the guise of peace." Let me finish the quote. Is a betrayal of the Grenadian people and of God himself. Now, unquote, that those are the quotes of Zara Chase. In other words, many Grenadians, such as her, of the evangelical persuasion, some of them, I wouldn't say all of them certainly, subscribe to this end times theology, and in some quarters may have no qualms with Israel's actions, because it is their belief that it may be the path must be cleared for the end time coming of their deity. Your thoughts?
Well, let me say something.
Yes.
Well, we do respect freedom of opinion.
Yes.
Let everyone express his opinion the way she or he deem appropriate. That does not change the realities on the ground, sir. Let them speak the way they want. There are realities on the ground. Israel is the occupying power. Palestinians are the occupied people. Israel is the occupier from an international point of view. This is not what Palestinians are claiming. This is the international instruments that qualify Israel as the occupying power. This is first point. Second point, would you like to elaborate on this?
No, at this point, I would like for you to continue specifically of her.
This is my second point. It's because of the long-standing support that we have received and continue to receive from those who believe in peace and justice, to human beings everywhere. We continue to provide the support that is needed on a technical level to our sisters and brothers here in Grenada. It is because of the support that we have accumulated throughout the past period from the people and the leadership of Grenada that I am present here today together with Her Excellency Dr. Linda Suba to discuss different areas of cooperation related to development in areas of health, agriculture, and others, where Palestinian expertise will be deployed on mid-term or long-term basis here in Grenada. It is because you have supported the just cause of the Palestinians that we need to pay back, and we need to appreciate. But we're going to do that through acts, not only through words. That's why I came here last year with a whole delegation of specialized Palestinian doctors who stayed here for a period of 8 days and conducted tens of operations. They worked hard together with their sisters and brothers at St. George Main Hospital, and they reflected the real values of the Palestinian people that are the same real values of the Grenada people. We belong to the same family of the South. We say we share the same history, the same culture, and the same values. And let those who speak about Israel as the oasis of democracy in that part of the world continue to do whatever they want. We respect freedom of expression and we respect freedom of opinion.
Very well. Yes, go ahead.
Actions of the occupation are way louder than any words that were written. Now we can see who is Satanas and who is killing and who is massacring. And I think the Grenadian people, the Caribbean people, the whole world is standing on the right side with the just cause. You don't want, or any Grenadian wants, after years, your child, your little brother, your little sister, to ask, what did you do to save the people of Palestine? What did you do to stop the genocide against the children in Palestine.
Yeah, the issue of Palestine is the most challenging situation when it comes to international law and international humanitarian law. What is the international community going to do when it comes to ensuring respect and follow up on the respect of international instruments under all circumstances?
Yeah,
Israel.
And
go ahead.
Yeah, no. You did mention that support that you are receiving not only from Grenada, but CARICOM in general, yes, at the United Nations. But in many respects, the United Nations General Assembly, in my view, is not respected by the West. They only respect the United Nations Security Council because they can veto what happens at the United Nations Security Council. They don't respect UN resolutions. As far as I'm concerned, the UN General Assembly is a toothless tiger. But of course, we have seen in the past that international solidarity has been used.
Why do they respect decisions coming out of the GA when it comes to other situations worldwide?
Which shows the hypocrisy, of course. It's just the hypocrisy. And the double standard, of course, yes.
In some nations, a woman, if it's defending or her land or speaking up, or a child, they're heroes. But in Palestine, we are terrorists.
We will continue to work with all international instruments. We will continue to work with all instruments related to the United Nations because we strongly believe that Palestine should be a full member there. And the international map, trust me, it is missing one country. That is the state of Palestine. For this map to be completed, we need to have the state of Palestine as full member in the system of the United Nations.
The state of Palestine.
Exactly.
That was taken off to be given to someone else.
Yeah, very well.
It's not that we're going to be new on the world map.
And let me tell you something.
Always, even the cover of the Black Water in Palestine is older than the state of Israel.
Yeah.
And it says that.
Brother, we have to continue depending and counting on ourselves first. Then we will move to our brothers. Then we will move to our friends. But the first thing to do is we Palestinians, we need to put our house in order. We need to be organized. And this is going to take a bit of a time. But at the end of the day, neither Hamas nor Fatah have any differences when it comes to the end result or the outcome of what we are doing. It is true that we have different means. It is true that we have different political ideologies. But at the end of the day, Hamas, Fatah, and other political fractions work together towards the realization of the independent, sovereign state of Palestine and the full enjoyment of our basic rights.
And statehood.
Absolutely. This has been a very important conversation. We try to be fair and balanced here on the Bub Report. And of course, it is our considered view that this issue needs to be ventilated not only through the lens of Western media, but also should be ventilated in a way that is dispassionate and bring all perspectives to the table. Yes, so you wanted to add something.
Yeah, I want to add, just to clarify one point. What we request Israel right now is to respect its obligations under international law. No Palestinian would like to have any violence acts committed against any Israeli. Israel should respect their other engagements. Israel should respect what they have signed upon in Paris Protocol, in Wye River, and in other international conferences. Israel do not respect any engagement that it signed during the past 20 years. It should be brought to your kind attention, and it should be clarified that Palestinians do not want to throw Israelis in the sea.
Absolutely not.
Israelis want to live in peace and security with their neighbors on the borders of the 1967. Two nations, two states living side by side in peace and security. And this is a very important point that we have to focus on the coming future.
Very well. Well, this has been a very important conversation, and thank you for appearing on the Bub Report. I know that you did have a busy schedule in Grenada. I do hope that you did get some time to enjoy Grenadian hospitality, and that given the continued solidarity that you have with the Grenadian people, I'm sure that you will be back.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Viewers and listeners, this is the Bub Report. We are going to take a quick break. We just completed the first segment. We'll be back for the second segment of the program. But before we get to the second segment, we are going to play a montage of what a historic Caribbean Palestinian solidarity looked like as well as part of that break. Please stand by. We'll be right back after this.
There are two people here who are right now representing their country at the United Nations, people who are involved in liberation struggles, people who are struggling for their national liberation, for justice, for freedom for their countries, freedom for their peoples. It is very important right at the beginning, sisters and brothers, that we acknowledge the presence of Dr. Terzi, the representative to the United Nations of the People's Liberation Organization, the PLO. Dr. Terzi can be assured, as always, that the people of Palestine and their sole authentic representatives, the Palestinian Liberation Organization, will always have the firm support of the fraternal people of Grenada.
As far as Yasser Arafat is concerned, I explained to Mr. Sigmund that we identify with the PLO because just like ourselves, they are fighting for the right of self-determination.
I ask our people to pray for both sides and to pray that they will find in them the courage to build the peace that the world needs. And this is not to say that their battle has any more value than what is going on in Darfur, in Sudan, and other parts of the world. But this one, regrettably, has been constant in people's living rooms and bedrooms and dining rooms because it is being televised. And I pray, therefore, that all countries of the world will urge that we secure peace before what we do is resurrect centuries-old enmity that will last yet again for decades rather than seeking to be able to build a peace.
Let us for the moment assume that Israel has a right to self-defense. Self-defense cannot mean revenge. Self-defense cannot mean collective punishment, and it cannot mean genocide.
Should your loved ones pass on, they deserve to be treated with dignity. And at S.A. Johnson Funeral Home, we can provide you with that service. We can take you every step of the way during your sorrowful moments. When that need arises, call S.A. Johnson Funeral Home at 347-777-9797. That's 347-777-9797. S.A. Johnson Funeral Home is a Caribbean family-owned funeral home here in Brooklyn, providing funeral services, but in a dignified way. From cremation to burial to the repatriation of your loved ones, you don't have to go through the hassle, as we provide exceptional service that allows you to mourn and heal peacefully. For more information, visit our website, www.sajohnsonfuneral.org. Send us an email at sajfuneral@aol.com or call 347-777-9797. S.A. Johnson Funeral Home, because you deserve to be treated with dignity.
Hi everyone, thanks for checking out the Bub Report's social media pages. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch our weekly live show, follow our Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram pages, and also subscribe to our YouTube channel. You can catch repeat episodes on Wednesdays at 4 and 5 p.m. respectively on CRFM Radio and GBN TV in Grenada. We are also viewed on Sundays at 8 p.m. on WPG 10 throughout the Caribbean. Thanks for watching.
In 2024, the Grenada Invitational will celebrate our Grenadian sporting heroes as we celebrate 50 years of independence and 40 years of participation at the Olympics. Thursday, June 6th, beginning at 4:30 p.m., our international track and field stars will compete against the world's best at the Kirani James Athletic Stadium.
This is Kirani, and I'm happy to announce that I will be participating.
My name is Anderson Peters. I'm pleased to announce that I will be participating in the 2024 Grenada Invitational.
Tickets are now available at the Grenadian Optical, Maxis Bar, Licks and Bites, Mega Force Promotion Office at the Bruce Street Mall, and GoToFed.com. Thursday, June 6th, the Olympic send-off.
And let me stop this here. Viewers and listeners, welcome back to the Bub Report. I am happy to be joined by two very important people, two VIPs to the program, one of which is a former Olympian, and the other is a Grenadian extraordinaire. He's a man of many hats. He wears many hats in Grenada, but one of those hats is that he is one of the main organizers and one of the brainchilds behind the Grenada Invitational, which is coming back with a bang in 2024. And of course, Hazelyn Regis is a daughter of the best parish in Grenada. It's so good to have you, Hazelyn. And welcome to the Bub Report. Both of you, welcome to the program.
Thank you, Dr. Bob. How are you?
I'm doing well. It's good to see you after so many years. You have me reminiscing on the intercall days back at Queen's Park before there was a stadium.
Well, those were the good old days, right? So we're continuing to celebrate the great things that happened in the past.
Those were the good old days. Those were the good old days. So, Hazelyn, before we get into the conversation about the Invitational, now we know that you were, of course, one of the Grenada's first female Olympians. You represented us proudly in Olympic Games past. Now, talk to us about what you have been up to and what you've been doing.
I've been up to a lot, but we have Jacinta Bartholomew and Charmaine Ross that was before me, so I have to make sure that they get their kudos.
Yes.
Currently, I am doing a lot, just involved in making sure that our Grenada sports is moving in the right direction. I am the chair of the Grenada Athletes Commission. Recently, we put the commission together, and that is just really making sure that the Athletes Commission represent the interests and the viewpoints of all athletes within this locality, not only in Grenada, but Carriacou and Petit Martinique as well. The second task that I took on, which is one that is very, very dear to my heart, they both are, was the Grenadian Olympians Association, bringing all of the Olympians together. As we know, we tend to forget about people before us. We tend to sometimes be hesitant about how can we utilize their skills, their knowledge to move sports or education in the right direction. So it is so warming to know that we have over 51 Olympians that represented Grenada. 52, one passed away. And to know that they're out there, and we walk probably in Grenada every day, walk the street and don't even know who
without knowing who they are. Yes.
Without knowing who they are. So I just want to say really thank you to Dexter for communicating with me and sharing this inspiration of bringing the Olympians together. And not only that, having the list of Olympians, the year they competed, the sports they competed in, and working with the team to get that. And we now have an association that we put together. We also have our WhatsApp group, so we're still trying to get past Olympians. Currently in our group, we have about 37, 38, and we're working on finding others to join the association as well. In my professional world, I'm doing everything. I am the head of school of kindergartners all the way to 8th grade. Recently completed Career Plus educator with the International Olympic Committee, where I'm now trained and certified to help athletes transition from their sport and career into the real world. So So I am doing a little bit of everything with the hope that whatever that I'm doing, I am making an impact and we're able to really support and give back to Grenada and our athletes as well.
I'm sure your community of Westerhall, that is correct. You are from Westerhall, correct?
Nope, Mamacan.
No, you're from Mamacan. I'm not too sure why I thought you were from Westerhall. I'm so sorry about that. But speaking of the Athletes Commission, you do have an event coming up as well. And I believe that is happening on the 11th of May. And it's called Strategic Conversations, Interview Skills, Preparation, and Techniques. Can you talk about that event that the commission will be holding?
So it is important for us to just a little bit about the work that we do. So we apply for grants through the International Olympic Committee and the Pan Am Sports. And with that grants, we're able to put on different opportunities and workshops for our athletes, both current and former. Our last week workshop, we had a session on sports nutrition where we had over 60 representatives, including representatives from outside of Grenada, whether it's athlete, coaches, parents outside of Grenada as well. This upcoming one, we will have our interview skills. It's Olympic year, right? We want to make sure that not only our Olympians, but also our athletes that are now striving to be professional understand the importance of interview skills, preparation, and techniques, right? We want to make sure that when they get in front of a microphone, they're able to articulate themselves, understand what does that actually look like and what it means. So we will have our media consultants, Michael Bascom and Lincoln Depradine, who will facilitate that for us, because as we know, they are heavily involved in sports and have knowledge around what are the things that we do and what we don't do. So we are asking everyone to share, make sure that we are participating in this workshop, having an understanding that in order to really and truly give back, we have to be able to be present. Right? So share the link, make sure that everyone participate. And if you can't use the scanner, you can always go to our website. We're sharing link. Our website is athletes.gocgrenada.com for more information as well. But we are here to just make sure the commission is made up of several athletes from different sporting entity. And we want to make sure that we are just consulting with others and having an understanding what are the needs to make sure that we're doing the best that we can.
Absolutely. And now let us get to Dexter. Dexter, welcome back to the program. Again, welcome to this week's edition of the Bub Report, sir. Of course, the Invitational. Now, let us begin. Let us first and foremost talk about the date. What was the thinking behind that, I believe, is June 6th, correct?
Yes, it is.
Yes, June 6th. What was the thinking behind hosting the event on that June 6th date?
Oh, pleasant good morning, Dr. Boban. Thank you once again for having me. Thank you for the opportunity to expound on all things Grenadian Invitational. I am certainly honored to be part of this panel of luminaries. Dr. Bob excelled in academia, Hazel herself. Dr. Bob, I don't know about your athletic exploits. And certainly know
I have, listen, I have none. Maybe cross country and a little cricket, but that's it.
Yeah, but it's certainly a pleasure to be here and to share the platform with you guys. The date, Thursday, the 6th of June, was given to us by World Athletics. Our meet, the Grenada Invitational, is sanctioned firstly by the Grenada Athletic Association, then NACAC, the regional body for track and field, and then World Athletics. World Athletics is trying to expand the scope of track and field globally. And that means having more meets. More meets means more dates because all the weekends are filled up. And especially in an Olympic year when athletes are going to be shutting down probably at the end of June after the US trials, Olympic trials. So we kind of had the option of Thursday. Can we get people to the Kirani James Athletic Stadium on a Thursday to look at Kirani and Anderson and Lyndon and those guys perform? And yeah, we thought we could. So we accepted the Thursday, the 6th of June. It's scheduled to be an after work event, so the gates will open at 3. The first event will run off at 4:30, and we should be done by 9 p.m.
What I hear you saying here is that there is an appetite within the Grenadian community to have to patronize any kind of sporting event during the week. I mean, we have Intercall as the basis for that as well, right?
And
the successful hosting of CARIFTA, wonderful performances by our local athletes. And even to the appetite, I think we took the responsibility of creating an Olympic send-off for our athletes. I think sometimes we kind of take it for granted what those guys are doing, and what the 50 that Hazel referred to, what they have done in the past. So Hazel herself, for example, she made it to the semi-final of the 400-meter female. Now, we kind of gloss over that over the years, but that is a huge deal. And think about, in this social media, quick to report environment. I mean, every step of the way, everything she did would have been reported. We would have been following her from the preliminary stage to the quarterfinal to the semi-final. So I think it is important that we understand the journey, and it's going to be aided by the Athletes Commission and the Past Olympians Association. The journey that those guys are presently going through. Kirani, like I said, Anderson, Lyndon, and those who are these guys have already made the Olympic standard, and those who are trying to attain the Olympic standard in Cut Felix, Melody Rodney, Hazel Hazard, and others. And what that send-off can do for them, probably while they are on the track in Paris, they might be thinking about the resounding response they got at home and how that could fuel them and incentivize
that home crowd send off. Yeah, absolutely.
Exactly.
which is so vital. And of course, Grenadians are a very patriotic people, and there is nothing around which we can close ranks as athletics. Yes. So Hazelin, talk about your role in this year's Invitational.
So my role, of course, is to support Dexter as much as I can. It is a very, very important year. Not only to have people come out and support our athletes vying for Paris, but it's the celebration of the 50th, a continuation. And to be part of that, it means a whole lot. It also means a lot because now we are able to find our Olympians. And this is a saying, once an Olympian, always an Olympian, right? So having them all together and being able to be there to spend that time and understand the things and the people that have done it before us, and to see our athletes now running in front of us and preparing for Paris Olympics, that's a big, big, big deal. So my role is to support in whatever capacity is needed to make sure that this comes to fruition.
Now, Dexter, I did see, interestingly, on all of your promotional paraphernalia, the 50th anniversary logo. And I do get the sense that in Grenada's 50th year, it was instructive perhaps for you to highlight Grenada's athletic achievements. Tell us about how Grenada's 50th Golden Jubilee year would be involved in the Invitational.
Well, very much so. And I'd like to say thank you to Dr. Wendy Crawford and Gail Bussell at the Secretariat. We wrote to them a few weeks ago. And obviously, we've heard the government say that the 50th anniversary celebration is a year-long celebration. So, in as much as we can celebrate all things Grenadian within that construct, we will endeavor to. So, we wrote to the Secretariat, wrote to the committee, and they've accepted our invitation to be part of the Grenada Invitational, so that the Grenada Invitational in 2024 will be a continued celebration of all things Grenadian. Yeah, especially the achievements of our people who've done well, who've excelled. So you showed, for example, Dr. Bob, you showed a while ago, part of the speech by Bishop. And we've always been about that, 1979, 1983, Erie, Bishop. No, we have other people. We have Jacinta Bartholomew, we have Sherman Ross, we have Bishop Bernard Thomas.
Janice Celestine,
Janice Celestine, Janice Bartholomew, former ECP Trevor Bartholomew. So we need to celebrate those folks and what they've accomplished, making the Olympic standard, being one of the top, 20 or 30 in the world to be able to get to the preliminary stage of an Olympic. It's a huge deal. So whether you make it into the final, whether you make it into the semi-final stage, you've already accomplished a lot. And I think we need to celebrate that, not just in terms of track and field and athletics, but as part of the achievement of Grenadians over the past 50 years. It is also, Dr. Bob, the 40th anniversary of Grenada's participation in the Olympics. We first participated in the Olympics in 1984. We sent a very strong contingent of participants, including 7 boxers and 3 athletes. One of the boxers, Bernard Wilson, who is now president of the Olympic Committee, actually won his first fight. Against, I think it was a Nigerian who was ranked number 4 in the world at the time. So we've done well, and we need to highlight those. And as Hazel alluded to, I cannot wait on the 6th of June when we parade the past Olympians, because people are going to be surprised by some of the names, some of the faces that they are going to see, and realize, you know, that person actually went to the Olympics. That person represented us at the Olympics. And the Olympics is not a St. David or GBSS thing. There are people from all walks of life, all over Grenada. Every parish is represented who represented Grenada at the Olympics at some point.
Well, I'm glad you said it's not a GBSS thing. I'm glad you put that rub in there as a PBC boy. All right, Tori, if you're listening, as a Shempa boy, you can agree, right?
But St. John is the parish of St. John is well represented also.
Of course. And let us talk about the other activities that would be involved. You indicated the start time, but what other events you just spoke about the parade of legends? Let's call them what they are, Olympic legends. What else would be happening on that day?
So at 4:30 we will have a national segment, and the national segment will feature local athletes. A lot of the under 13s, under 17s, and so on. And there is going to be a feature of those who excelled at the Character Games. So, for example, some events have been included to accommodate the people who did well. So the young man who excelled at the triple jump by taking medal in the triple jump, there will be a male triple jump to accommodate his performances and to give Grenada an opportunity to see him in competition one more time. Of course, Annalisa Brown is going to be featured. So all the young athletes who did well at Intercall, at the school games, at Carifta, are going to be given an opportunity to shine at the Grenada Invitational. That will be between 4:30 and 6. It's also an opportunity for the past Olympians to see who the present or the future Olympians might be, and for there to be some outreach. I know a lot of them still have some connectivity to the colleges, and so it's an opportunity for connections to be made to coaches, to scouts, an opportunity for young Grenadian athletes to get a chance to better themselves athletically, academically, and otherwise. Once that segment is done at 6 p.m., we move into the ceremony. A very short welcoming opening ceremony, but the feature will be for about 45 minutes, the celebration of our past Olympians, recognizing all our past Olympians, all 51 of our past Olympians. And as Hazel alluded to, I've been doing the research for a couple of years now. So we have all the names, all the cities they've competed in, the years they've competed, and we've had the accomplishments. So what run did they get to? What distance did they throw? Or what time did they run? So we are going to make a really huge deal of that up until 6:45, and then we prepare for the international segment, which starts at 7 p.m. and goes to 9 p.m. It's a 2-hour window for live international television, and it is going to feature, like we alluded to, Hazel Hazard in the 100 and 200 meter, Melanie Rodney in the 400 meter. Cut Felix is going to do a couple of events. He's a decathlete along with his brother Lyndon Victor, and of course Kirani James. There's going to be the javelin. Normally when the field events are featured, it's probably as a recording because the field event is taking place while a track event is taking place. But in the case of the Grenada Invitational, the javelin is going to be featured to give Grenadians an opportunity to see what Anderson Peters can really do when he goes up against international competition. This will be his first professional meet at home. This will be the first time Lyndon Victor is performing at home at any level outside of high school. And obviously this is Kirani's second time since 2017, the first time since after the stadium was renamed after him. So it's really a huge deal. It's a big deal for us to already have 3 athletes confirmed going to the Olympics. And let me just point something out here, one statistic. Recently at the World Indoor Championships, both Dominica and St. Lucia had athletes winning medals, the first global medals in track and field. Global medal meaning either at the World Indoor Outdoor Championships or at the Olympics. And obviously it's a big deal for St. Lucia, it's a big deal for Dominica winning the first global medal. In Grenada, we have 11 global medals. We've had 11 global medals, from Alan Francis to Indoors, to Anderson Peters, to Kirani James. So we've accomplished a lot, and that's why on the 6th of June, as much as there is going to be track and field performances and outstanding track and field performances, it is more about a celebration of Grenada and Grenadians and what we have achieved. Also, one more important thing to point out is that our meet, the Grenada Invitational, is part of the World Continental Tour meets around the world, and it is a world ranking meet. So it means that athletes who are competing in Grenada can earn points towards the world ranking, so that they can improve the world ranking, they can increase the lead if they're number one in the world, and so on. But more importantly, on the 6th of June, if an athlete has not yet achieved the Olympic standard in any of the events that we are going to host, that athlete can do so in Grenada. They are given an opportunity to qualify for the Olympics by competing at the Grenada Invitational, by achieving the Olympic standard in any of the events that we are hosting.
Absolutely. Hazel, is there anything else you wish to add to what that lineup looks like? I'm sure you're excited about it. I think for the athletes who have not competed at home and who are competing at home for the first time, I'm sure that would be a big deal for them.
Yes, it's absolutely a big deal. It's even a bigger deal because now our athletes have our past Olympians there to support and to cheer them on. And I think that means a whole lot. It also gives an opportunity for our younger athletes to have interactions with past Olympians and for us to just celebrate together. Like I said before, there are many before us that a lot of us don't know. It's important that we continue to leave that legacy. We can only do that if we are continuing to celebrate them. The public know who they are. Our schools are making sure that there's some type of educational pieces on who these people are. Even in the schools, for example, a lot of people may know that I went to St. David's Secondary, but a lot of people may not know that Nisha Bernard attended McDonald college and she's the 800 person there. So just making sure that everyone have an opportunity to know who we are, the work that we have done, and we can never forget those before us in order to continue the tradition of excellence. And not only in track and field, because we have swimmers, we have boxers, we have different sports personnel as well. So again, it's an opportunity to celebrate, it's an opportunity to give back, and most importantly, making sure that whatever it is that we learn, we're taking it towards the future to build a better and stronger Grenada, not only in sports, but overall.
Dexter, let us talk about live streaming. I mean, you know, these days, everything is around making sure that those who can't attend the event physically are able to tune in virtually. What would that look like? Who are the partners the Grenada Invitational will be partnering with to ensure that those of us who may not be able in the diaspora to attend can actually watch the Invitational live?
Well, yeah, we will make an official announcement on the 15th of May, but you can be assured that if you are outside of Grenada, there will be an opportunity, not a pay-per-view opportunity, but an opportunity to log in to an app or log into a channel, and you'll be able to view the Grenada Invitational. I think that is one of the attractions of the Invitational to athletes. In our first 3 years, in 2017, 18, and 19, we were broadcast live on ESPN, and in 2024, we actually have some options as to live broadcasts. So a decision will be made definitely tomorrow. And when we do our media launch officially on the 15th, we will announce who our broadcast partner is. We'll also announce some of the other athletes who are coming to contest against our local athletes. People keep asking who else is coming. And
yes,
Tirani is coming, Lyndon Victor is coming, Anderson Peters is coming. That should be enough to fill the stadium. You know, let us go down to support our athletes. Scott Russell is going to be there. I mean, Scott Felix, sorry, Melanie Brown is going to be there. Also, and let me use this opportunity to thank the government of Grenada, because we could not do the meet last year because of the state of disrepair of the track.
The refurbishment of the track.
Yes. And we actually have a much better quality track, in that the track that was there previously when the stadium was built was a rubber track with a spray over. And you notice, Dr. Bob and Hazel, when in recent years, when the intercall was being contested at school sports, a lot of kids were pulling up with injuries, a lot of hamstring, a lot of calf injuries. You did not see much of that this year at the intercall, neither at Carifta, because we now have a proper polyurethane finish with granules, with rubber granules on top of it. So you don't have that friction, and it is going to be a much faster track, much faster times. So
well, I found it interesting that some of the Carifta athletes said that the track was very fast.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
So that is one of the attractions for the international athletes. Now, think about it. If you're an athlete, and he's good attest to that, and you did not make the Olympic qualifying time, where better to come than a new track in a hot environment in front of a boisterous crowd to boost you on to try to make the qualifying time. So we expect some wonderful performances. In fact, we're having a slight problem, which is a good one to have, in that there's so much more interest than we can accommodate. So much more athletes who are trying to get into the Grenada Invitational, saying that I need meets, I need to make the Olympic time. I do not want to wait until my national trials to try to make it against other athletes from my country. I want to make the time before. So so it's going to be apart from all the celebrations and all the recognitions, it's going to be a keenly contested group of events, because those who've made the qualifying time, obviously are going to lay down some fast times, through some far distances, to say, this is the person to beat come Paris. And those who did not make it, obviously, are going to do their best to try to make the Olympic qualifying time. And of course, to have the past Olympians, I mean, imagine as a Grenadian athlete, to have those who've done it before you, those who've been to 2 Olympics, or in Alan Francis' case, 3 Olympics, to have them cheering you on, to have them watching you, obviously, we try to impress them.
And we want them to come in person, have an opportunity to get, of course, autographs, take pictures with the past Olympians, current Olympians. So being present is important. While we understand that a lot of people may have to watch it live stream, this is an opportunity to really engage and to be present as well.
Where can patrons get tickets?
Before we go into tickets, one of the other initiatives, as you talk about people coming to the stadium, is that World Athletics has mandated that young student athletes be given as much exposure as possible. So when there is these kinds of international events, they should be able to be witnesses to it, not just hearing about it or probably having school visits, but be able to come and see the heroes compete. So in that light, we've set aside one section of the athletic stadium, the Grenada James Athletic Stadium, 1,500 capacity in the bleachers for students. And I'm happy to report that we're almost at capacity, because we have gotten extremely positive support from corporate Grenada. Lyndon Victor himself, through his company that sponsors him, Grenada Credit Union, have committed to 100 tickets. Huggins has committed to 100 tickets, and we're getting very good responses. So on the 15th of May, we will be able to announce that we've already sold out that section of 1,500 population, catering only to students who are going to come to the meet and will have an opportunity to meet some of the heroes. As far as tickets are concerned, tickets are now available at Grenada Optical, both in St. George's in town and at the Spiceland Mall in Grand Anse, at Megaforce Promotions office in Bruce Street Mall in town also, Max's Buy in Grenville, Licks and Bites in Guelph, and online at gotofed.com. One important thing about the ticket, when you buy a ticket to the Grenada Invitational, you're actually buying your seat. So that when you go to the ticket outlet, and that is why there are so few outlets. So when you go to the outlet, you are going to go into the system, see your seat, and decide this is the seat I want in the section you want, whether it is in the secondary stands, finish line, or the start line. And your ticket will then be printed, the barcode. So when you get to the stadium, you are going directly to your seat. Nobody else will be in your seat. When you need to get up to go to the bathroom or to go to the concession stands to get some food, when you get back, your seat will be your seat. Nobody's going to place a bag to hold it for a relative or anything like that. And that is very, very important, so that you have some level of control. People are seated when the races are about to begin. There is not noise. You cannot hear the starters, orders, or hear the gun go off and so on. So if we want to continue to host international events, that is some of the things that we have to do. We've done it successfully in the past, and we've never had any issues. We have our young volunteers who would escort people, and people who are not familiar with the stadium, escort them directly to the seats. Yeah, but those are some of the things that are in place, proper parking and so on. Our local organizing team, I must congratulate them, because none of this will be possible without the team. And not a local organizing committee. I don't like committees. We have a team. And they're
you don't like the word committee, yeah?
not central, not any other kind.
Not central. No. We don't want that in Grenada again, right?
yeah, but we do have a wonderful team of individuals. and they are working extremely hard to make sure everything is in place so that Grenada is puts on an excellent show. And I think the World Athletics expects that from us. We've done it 3 times before, and we are the envy of the region, in fact, as far as track and field is concerned, because we have some of the best athletes in the world. Kieran is ranked number 5 in the 400 meter. Lyndon Victor number 3 in the decathlon, Anderson Peters number 5 in the javelin. But we also put on one of the best meets in the region, one of only 3 in the region, well, 4 Bermuda and 2 in Jamaica and one in Grenada, of course.
Very well. Margaret Francis is saying, glad to hear that tickets and seats will match. It's about time. Yes.
Oh, no, we've done it in the past. I know she's saying about time because other organizations do not do it. But in 2017, 2018, and 2019, we've done it. In fact, we, through GoToFed, set up the platform because the seats at the stadium are numbered, the rows are numbered. So it's very easy to do. When you go to purchase your ticket, you can go into the system and you choose the exact number seat. As a matter of fact, you can go to the stadium on any day when it is empty, sit in your seat, decide this is the seat I want, and then go back to the ticket outlet and purchase your seat.
Yeah. Very well. So this is your website, of course. Do you have any surprises, or have you finalized the list of international athletes outside of our international athletes who would be there, or would you be keeping that a secret coming closer to the time of the meet?
No, we will make those announcements on the 15th of May.
All of those announcements will be on the 15th of May.
All of those announcements will be made on the 15th of May. Like I said, we are still filling a lot of requests. I mean, up to last night, I got a request from a Jamaican athlete who wants to compete in the female 400 meter. The evening before that was a male in the 400 meter. So we still continue to get requests, but we will make the announcement at the media launch on Wednesday, the 15th of May. And Grenadians will get to be very, very excited. Let me just say this though, that in the past, we've hosted some quality athletes. And if you go on the website, you'll see, Asafa Powell, Kim Collins, Veronica Campbell-Brown. But in addition to those, LaShawn Merritt, Justin Gatlin, but in addition to those, and we need to pay attention to who is coming, or who might, the potential of who's present at the Grenada Invitational. So for example, in 2018, Tajay Gill contested the long jump here at the Grenada Invitational. He went on to win the World Championship in 2019 in long jump, Jamaican Tajay Gill. In 2018 also, Toby Amusan competed here in Grenada in the 100-meter hurdles female. She has gone on now to break the world record and is now the world champion in the 100-meter hurdles female. In 2017, Stephen Gardner competed here. He broke the Bahamian national record in the 400-meter here in Grenada in 2017, and he has gone on to win Olympic gold and world championship title. So apart from the big names, we should also pay attention to some of the lesser names, some of the upcoming athletes, and where we can say, yes, we actually saw that person here in Grenada before they went on to Olympic or world championship glory. But obviously, we know that some of the big names will be here also, and those announcements will come on Wednesday, the 15th of May. In the meantime, let us still continue to celebrate ours. Iran is coming home. Anderson is leaving Monday, tomorrow, please the Lord. He's heading off to Doha, but he will be back to compete at the Grenada Invitational. Lyndon is out. Every time I call him, he's on the track. Every time I call him, he's taking my call, but saying, the coach is calling me, the coach is calling me. I know Melanie has had a very good start to her season, wonderful times. She's working extremely hard, along with Hazel Hazard and Cut Felix. In fact, the promo video that we got from Cut Felix that we posted, it was after his run up to Granite Tank up to 1910. And he said it took him about 5 minutes because he had to catch his wind before he was able to record the video. So it's going to be a wonderful Grenadian time, apart from the performances of the international athletes, but to have the past Olympians. I mean, imagine a parade of seeing Nisha Bernard and Jacinta Bartholomew and Hazel Energis and Alan Francis and Bernard Wilson, on the same stage, on the same platform, and some other names I want to call, but I will not call. Let's keep them a surprise for now. but seeing that camaraderie, knowing that they share this one important bond, having represented Grenada at the Olympics, and having people cheer them on before we go on to cheer on the present day Olympians and the future Olympians.
Yeah, very well. Of course, Sharon Dwyer. Good morning, Sharon. It's happy to have you here in our audience. You're saying I already got my ticket, Margaret. I hope to see you there. Of course, Sharon is a diasporan, so I'm sure JetBlue will be getting some good business, some good midweek business, very good midweek business there. Go ahead.
We want to encourage people to purchase tickets as quickly as possible, because once the tickets are sold, once the seats are sold, we cannot accommodate anyone else. I think there are 6,800, just over 6,800 seats at the stadium, and once the seats are sold, then we cannot accommodate anybody else. So I know some people are asking, they're waiting on the big announcements, but to me, we've already made the big announcements. Our past Olympians are going to be here, our present Olympians are competing. Whatever else comes after that is gravy. We are in the middle of our 50th anniversary of independence. It's going to be a grand sporting celebration. 40 years of participation in the Olympics, 50 years as an independent nation. I can see. I don't see any reason why you need to wait on any more announcements.
Yeah, absolutely. Just get those tickets. Buy those airfare tickets if you need to go. Do that now, because of course, before you know it, the Invitational will be here, and Olympics will be here as well. Because of course, we have the Summer Olympics happening in Paris as well. As you said, that Olympic send-off is happening. Of course, Hazelyn, over to you for some final comments before we get to Dexter for some closing comments.
As Dexter stated, it's happening. It's going to be awesome, amazing. So we want you all to come out and support our athletes, support everything that we're doing to put Grenada on the map. And we thank you all so much for giving us this opportunity to share. And we can't wait to celebrate with everyone.
Absolutely. Dexter?
Yeah, just thank you. Well, let me say thank you first to Hazelyn and the past Olympians. They have been very, very, very cordial, very accommodating, very happy, very delighted that we've reached out to them. And I can't wait to host them here, to have them here. And those who are here, for us to all assemble at the stadium and have a wonderful time. To the athletes, Kirani, Lyndon, Anderson, again, sometimes we take for granted what they are doing for Grenada. And I think we really have to give them the flowers, and the 6th of June is that opportunity. I mean, they are going off to Paris, and in some instances, as favorites are close to favorites again, you know. So let us not take that for granted. Let us not, get excited or energized only when they get to a final or when there's a chance to win a medal. I think it starts now as they are going through the paces. Kieran is on the track again on the 18th of May in LA. Lyndon is on the track, I think, on mid-May, 13th and 14th, or 14th and 15th of May. Anderson starts his season on the 10th of May. So let us give them all the support, the social media postings, send them all the love we can and all the encouragement we can, and then celebrate them home here on the 6th of June and send them off in a wonderful Grenadian way as they get ready for Paris 2024, and as we continue to celebrate all things Grenadian. And 50 years of Grenadian independence. And thank you, Dr. Bob, for understanding the significance of the occasion. I don't take it lightly that you have a lot of material that you can use for your program, a lot of other people that you can speak to, and you thought that was important. So thank you very much for the space and for the time, and thank you to your listeners and your viewers for the indulgence.
Yeah, not everything has to be Mawet, okay? Rise above the Mawet, and
that is the quote of the day.
That is the quote. That is the quote. That is the quote of the day. But speaking of Mawet, Dexter, well, I should not preface the question this way. But some of the do you still have some of the original organizers with you, or are they still part of the Invitational, or is just a new cadre of folks that you brought in, like Hazelyn and others, to be part of the organizing?
No, most of the team is still intact. I mean, obviously it's been 3-4 years, so some people have moved on, but most of the team is very important. The meet director, Mr. Colin Peters, and he's one of the best in the region at directing meets, and because it is a live television event, you need somebody who can start event on time and end it on time. and get events to run smoothly. So Colin is still with us. Dr. Francis Martin, again, the importance of anti-doping and testing of athletes and so on. But he's now
and he has done a lot of work. Yeah, he has done a lot of work in the past as well. Yeah,
exactly.
With you all.
Yeah. Deputy Commissioner Desmond Prince, security, and what that means, the not just at the stadium, but the security of the athletes at the hotels, the movement of the athletes from one place to the other, and so on. He has done a fantastic job. Yes, IT at broadcast, Damian Dabo, Kerry Frank, with hospitality and protocol at the airport. So yeah, most of the team is still intact. And like I said, a very wonderful team working very hard. And we're really looking forward to putting on a wonderful showcase of Grenadian talent for that the world can appreciate and celebrate with us.
Very well, Hazelin and Dexter, thank you for appearing on the Bub Report this week.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Viewers and listeners, Hazelin Regis and Dexter Mitchell, they were able to provide some very important information around the Grenada Invitational that's returning on the 6th of June after a 3-year hiatus. Of course, within that period, we also had the pandemic and other events that were taking place that really prevented the Invitational from getting underway, but it is back. It is back on June 6th. Please get your tickets because tickets are selling really fast. You know how much we love athletics. I personally love athletics a lot as well. And I may just show my face in Grenada on the 6th as well, just for that event. Of course, barring the JetBlue prices, which I hope they don't jack it up in advance of this. But viewers and listeners, before we go, now, in a couple of weeks, the Bub Report will be celebrating 4 years. But in advance of the Bub Report's recognition of its 4th anniversary, we want to pause today to remember the late, great George Grant, who was in many respects the forerunner and the forebearer to Sunday morning programming in Grenada, which we are trying. We may not necessarily be doing everything that Mr. Grant did in the way that he did it, but certainly we will continue to maintain that space for civic discourse on matters of national importance. So we just wanted to pause to reflect and remember the late, great George Grant, and we thank him for his services to Grenada. I have to say, though, that in this 50th year of Grenadian independence, no mention was made of the contribution of media to Grenada's 50th anniversary of independence. Grenada's history, the first draft of Grenada's history was written by the journalists and reporters who over the last 50 years were able to put that history to bear and who were able to use that information for us to then reflect on what our 50th anniversary of independence or 50 years of existence look like as a nation. So I'm throwing out this challenge to the Media Association, the independence organizers, to not forget the Fourth Estate. I know that, of course, the media is in flux in Grenada in many respects. There are issues around professional standards, which we know. We do appreciate all of those issues. But we cannot ignore the fact that there were journalists, great journalists, over the past 50 years who were the first drafters of Grenadian history. I'm talking about people like Alistair Hughes, people like the late Leslie Pear, Errol Maitland. I'm talking about, even though I have issues with him, Mr. George Worm. Of course, he's part of Grenadian history as well, in respect of towing the lines around what those libel laws look like in the country. People like Leroy Noel, Royal Titus, Zerith Macmillan, Callistra Faria. There are just Michael Bascom, you just name it. Margaret Francis, who is here. Peter David was a member of the media. Lincoln Toro Depredine. I mean, there are so many people who contributed to Grenada's media landscape, and we here at the Bub Report will be thinking about how we can celebrate those people's contributions to Grenada's 50th anniversary of independence. So those of you who are listening, even though you're not commenting, we certainly happy that you're here with us. Please continue to like and subscribe and follow updates from the Bub Report. Now, next week, we will not be live, as I will be in New York City attending Auntie Rita Gabriel's, I call her Auntie, Rita Gabriel's annual Mother's Day Festival, Mother's Day brunch or Mother's Day event that she stages every year. And so, but we will be having a program for you in spite of the fact that the program will not be live. So please be aware that while the program will not be live, we will be having a program for you. We will just not be able to take your questions. The guests will not be able to answer your questions during that live segment. So on behalf of the producers of the Bub Report, I am your humble servant, Dr. Kellen Bub. We wish everyone a pleasant week now. Take care. Bye-bye.
Don't go there.
You are a technocrat. I mean, you can speak to whether or not it was appropriate or inappropriate for that to occur. Would you have done that as a permanent secretary?
Politicians get the information from wherever source that they can.
That's going to be the extent of your answer.
Yeah.
Don't go there.
There's a lot of noise around the data protection bill that, in my respectful view, is not warranted.
I was one of those making noise, and it's simply because I was concerned about that specific section 33.
Don't go there.
Are you going to be offering yourself up as political leader of the party?
I see you've called me here for much more than diplomatic passports. I don't mind that.
Don't go there.
What is the relationship like between you and your leader, Dr. Mitchell, your boss, Dr. Mitchell?
I'm not sure how to explain how to answer this question at this time. I prefer not to answer.
Don't go there.
They said that you approached the bank for the loan before the election and that it only materialized after the election. There are also conflicting reports around the quantity of monies that were received. What is the reality here?
People try to extort the truth and to make all kinds of things about it. I just stay quiet. So if you notice, I was really and truly quiet about the whole matter.
Well, except with not with the New Today newspaper. The New Today newspaper reported on this, so I'm not sure you were quiet on this. Go ahead, Honorable. Go ahead.
Well, I'm just trying to answer your question, right?
Don't go there.
I think we just spoke at length about the regularization framework. So
yes, we did. But let us talk, Prime Minister. Let us talk about the workers who are dismissed.
The Bub Report. We go there.